On Sunday, October 14th at 2:06 a.m., Alex sent an email to DC Universe asking for the advanced screeners of Titans so that he could make a baller video. He received a promising response the following day at 12:37 p.m., providing him a link to an online application where he would be reviewed by Warner Brothers. Alex completed and submitted the application at exactly 12:40. He received this response seconds later.
We are unable to verify your current business relationship with Warner Brothers Television and are not able to grant access at this time. Best regards, Warner Brothers Worldwide Television Marketing.
He was rejected automatically. He reached back out to DC and his contact at Warner Brothers with no luck. He was broken. He was angry. He was ghosted. Will WB ever respond? The answer was most definitely no. Maybe it was because he threw some shade at John Peters and Peter Gruber in his Why Batman 89 is a Bad Batman movie video. Maybe it was because his interview with Zack Snyder ended in tears. Or maybe it was because WB didn't want Alex to talk about Titans. He wasn't going to be broken. He wasn't going to be beat by corporate America. Snyder would not win. Titans. Let me address the fact that this episode of HiTop Films will be a two-parter. I'm making this first part, which uncovers the conception and creation of Titans, as well as covers my thoughts on the first 4 episodes. I will make part 2 as soon as I get to finish the rest of the series. So before we all decide to take off our pants and fuck Batman, I think you guys need to know the fascinating backstory of how Titans came to be. The origin of Titans. Titans was originally conceived by Oscar-winning Batman Forever and Batman and Robin writer Akiva Goldsman for the cable channel TNT.
You know, I felt very much, and still do, that we were doing exactly what you're supposed to do. I leave the opinion of quality to the individual viewer, but what you're supposed to do with icons is contort them. And without those aborted and perhaps less successful bends and twists, you never get Dark Knight Returns. You will never, ever find a Clint Eastwood version of Batman. And those are the things we want. And that's what we yearn for. We yearn for something old made new spectacularly.
Chicks dig the car.
Never touch your kid again, I'll fight you.
Something old made new spectacularly.
By December 2014, Goldsman and Mark Hames, best known for writing Kubo and the Two Strings, had completed a pilot that featured Dick Grayson, Starfire, Raven, Oracle, and Hawk and Dove.
Jesus.
The pilot was set to begin shooting in 2015 under the code name Blackbirds. Then, nothing. No official casting updates, no release dates, no real story information other than that the show would follow Dick Grayson on his journey to becoming Nightwing. This nothingness lasted until January 7th, 2016, when Kevin Riley, the president of TNT and TBS, stated, "We just decided it wasn't quite where we wanted to go." Jeff Johns responded with, "We at DC have known about Turner nixing Titans for months and months and months. That's not new news to us. We have plans for Titans. It's a huge piece of DC and we have plans." Then, on April 25th, 2017, at 9:15 a.m., it was officially announced that Titans would be premiering on the brand new DC streaming service in 2018. The show's pilot would be directed by the Machinist director, Brad Anderson, which explains the awful blue filter, and written by Akiva Goldsman and Jeff Johns. Goldsman, Johns, and the king of CW superhero TV, Greg Berlanti, would serve as the official creators and executive producers of the show. Now, being on the DC streaming service meant the show could be whatever it wanted to be. It didn't have to fit into the CW mold or be on Fox, like Gotham. Anything was possible. The cast slowly began to assemble and the pilot officially began shooting on November 15th, 2017. Then on December 1st, 2017, we got our first look at Brenton Thwaites as Robin, and the internet went nuts. This reaction would become a trend as more and more set photos were being leaked. People hated the look of Starfire, Beast Boy, Raven, and pretty much everything else about the show. Of course, this passionate hatred was based on set photos. Set photos the paparazzi took of the actors, standing around the set, in costume. Set photos that probably didn't give a clear indication of how exactly the costumes will look on camera. Set photos. The negative buzz surrounding the show would only increase when at San Diego Comic-Con 2018, DC dropped the first trailer for Titans. Now, this trailer was possibly the greatest example of what bad editing can really do. We have this Riverdale music playing over a grim, gritty trailer with these stupid zoom-ins and flashes that just scream, "Look at me, Dad, I'm cool." The way they edited this fight scene together for this trailer makes it look like Robin just killed 6 goons and said "fuck Batman" with the utmost sincerity. Take a look at the scene in the pilot, and "fuck Batman" is a great comedic beat, and I'm pretty sure he doesn't kill anyone in the scene. Pretty sure. I kept questioning why DC would release such a bad trailer for their flagship show. After all, this trailer had to sell everyone on a DC Universe subscription. I mean, sure, they have comics that you've probably read. Sure, they have a bunch of fantastic animated movies and shows that you've probably already seen. And sure, they have some obscure gems like Birds of Prey and the 90s Flash show that you probably have no interest in watching. The first trailer for Titans had to be the second coming of Christ to sell DC fans on a subscription service filled with things they already own. But it wasn't. It was terrible. Nothing about this trailer is fun or appealing. But I still had hope. It had to be good, right? It had to be. They are not outsourcing the show to anyone. DC is making it, not the CW, not Fox, DC. They can theoretically do whatever they want. So why the fuck would they make something that looks this trashy? This trailer makes the show look like an edgy fan film some hack 18-year-olds would make for no money. Oh. Maybe I still had hope because of the potential of the Teen Titans as characters. You have a guy who was raised by Batman after his parents were brutally murdered and who left Batman, his only surviving parental figure, because he realized he didn't want to grow up and be Batman. You have a girl who is the daughter of the devil who feels like a complete freak. You have an alien who feels alienated because she's an alien, and a circus freak who covers up the pain of feeling different by making other people laugh. Basically, you have a bunch of weirdos who need each other to feel not so weird. That is such a simple and beautiful idea that could easily last 10 seasons. They could even introduce Superboy, essentially the son of Superman and Lex Luthor, who at first isn't loved by either of his fathers. They could introduce Cyborg, another freak who was full of missing parts, literally and figuratively. The number of emotional, breathtaking, intriguing, fun, somber, ridiculous, serious, and groundbreaking superhero stories you could tell with one of these characters is limitless, but they can, in theory, use as many characters as they want. So why, on God's green earth, was this the first look at the show? Seriously, it makes no sense. DC is fully aware that people didn't vibe with the self-serious, pretentious edgelord tone of the DCU. They are so aware, in fact, that they poke fun at themselves on an upcoming show on their own streaming service.
I thought we were supposed to make a show that was like super gritty and bleak and depressing. You know, like a DC thing.
That is an excellent way to make television and film.
If they know, then why would they ever show this trailer to anyone? Who edited this? Who committed this crime? And the biggest plot twist of all is that the show itself is absolutely nothing like the trailer. The show. How many of you have actually watched Titans? I'm genuinely curious. I know the streaming service is only available in the US, so I doubt a ton of people have watched it, but seriously, let me know down in the comment section if you watched it and give me your quick thoughts on it. Titans feels, what's the word I'm looking for? Weird? Yeah. Weird. Now that is not a bad weird or a good weird, just weird. The writing is sometimes atrocious and other times it's pretty fucking awesome. The acting is sometimes off and other times on point. The action scenes have shots like this and moments like this. The characters are sometimes very recognizable, and at other times are completely unrecognizable. The overall production value of the show ranges from feeling expensive and artistic like Daredevil, and at other times feels like a student film. So yes, after watching almost the first half of the season, it just leaves me feeling weird.
I'm not gonna do anything weird.
I have a theory that the show was originally intended to be binged like a Netflix series, because episodes just straight up end. Even if there is no conclusion to the plot established or a natural ending to the episode, we just slam cut to black half the time, and each episode ends up feeling like a part of a greater whole, which is a perfectly fine way of telling your story, but seems way more suitable for a binge watch on Netflix. Jeff Johns himself even said this: Greg and Akiva and Warner in DC, everybody just wanted it to be different than the other superhero shows out there. And not just tonally, but also story-wise. To tell a serialized story. To tell more of an 11-hour movie instead of a multi-episode series. This may sound far-fetched, but what if the show was actually meant to drop all at once? But then the big wigs behind DC Universe realized that people could watch the entire series with their 1-week free trial that they offer. If they stretch out the show until December, then they get that sweet $8 monthly subscription fee for 3 months. That's $24 per every person who wants to watch all of Titans.
But Alex, that's not that much money.
I wasn't done. You know what premieres in January? The first half of Young Justice Season 3, which will run weekly until February. And then you know what premieres in February? Doom Patrol, which will run weekly until May. And then you know what premieres in May? Swamp Thing, which will run weekly until September. And then you know what premieres in September? Stargirl. DC wants an episode of an original series running on the streaming service every week, year-round. And that's not a bad business model by any means. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it seems to me that this particular business model wasn't thought of until after they finished filming a large portion of Titans. The entire show, or what I've seen of the show so far, feels unfinished. Not in the way that a movie like Justice League feels unfinished, but rather, Titans feels like everyone involved needed one more week. What do I mean by that? The editing is choppy but not horrendous. Scenes don't have a natural order to them, and we get a lot of exterior shots that bounce us from location to location, but all the locations feel the same because of the blue.
What the fuck are you talking about?
There's this god-awful blue tint that bathes every scene in the first couple of episodes. It makes me want to scrape my face against a brick wall and then scrape my face against glass. It takes away completely from the work of the cinematographers, the gaffers, and the costume designers. Here, just look. This is the Robin costume with no filter on it. Look at the colors. It looks like a pretty good Robin suit. Now here is the suit on the show. This probably has something to do with Brad Anderson, who just loves the desaturated blue tint look. But why do we need a blue tint? I don't need a goddamn blue filter to tell me I should take this show seriously. The blood, the violence, the cinematography, the acting already informed the viewer that this ain't your daddy's Teen Titans. So why take away from your superbly shot atmospheric show with color correction that takes 3 seconds to do in post? Hashtag get rid of the blue. Please, please, please. The Titans are some of the most colorful DC characters. I mean, look at this, please. The CGI in the show also feels completely unfinished. Look at The Flash, a show with supposedly a smaller budget who manages to pull off a believable looking Gorilla Grodd and King Shark, and now look at Beast Boy, or this bird, or this weird CG young Dick Grayson doing a flip. Do you see what I mean when I say it feels like everyone needed an extra week to work on the show? Now let's talk about the teenage testosterone-toting Titans themselves. First off, the man himself, the face-scraping, raven-hugging, dick-stabbing Dick Grayson. Now this may surprise you, hell, it even surprised me, but I really like what they are doing with him.
Fuck you. F your mother, your sister, your son, your soul. You are a hack. Hashtag unsubscribed.
As you all know, I am obsessed with Batman, obsessed with everything and everyone surrounding Batman, so that means I am also obsessed with Robin, obsessed with all the Robins. Dick, Jason, Tim, Carrie, Stephanie, Damian. You hire me to write anything Robin related and I will give you a 13-episode miniseries detailing how complex each and every Robin character is. So when they make Dick Grayson the edgelord angry bloody Robin, you would think that a nerd like me would be angry, but I get it. Unlike, say, Batman v Superman, Dick's violence is shown to be a complete character flaw and is an actual part of his arc so far. Just look at moments like this.
You don't know what I've become.
What are you talking about? Jesus.
And people are calling Robin out on his shit all the time.
You saw what he did. He's a fucking psychopath.
You got problems.
Although I do agree with the criticism that they take Grayson's broken nature a little bit too far.
You ever touch your kid again, I'll fight you.
Jesus Christ, I haven't seen the Jason Todd episode yet, but if Dick Grayson stabs people in the dick, then what the hell is Jason going to do?
Nice to meet you, bro. I'm the new Robin.
One face scrape is enough to get your point across, but like I said, I get what they're doing. They want him to grow from a crazy Robin into a well-rounded, emotionally well-off Nightwing. It is clear the intention is to establish the character of each Titan over the course of the season. They start the show broken and they find their missing pieces by finding each other. That is a fantastic idea. But what doesn't really work is showing how the Titans got so broken over the course of 11 weeks. We don't start the show with a series of flashbacks showing how Robin became this damaged, or showing what Starfire's mission is, or telling us who the hell Raven is. We get those flashbacks and development over time, which is also a solid idea on paper, but I feel like the week-to-week release takes away from our connection to Dick, to Corey, to Rachel, to Gar. If it was intended to be viewed as an 11-hour movie, a binge watch, then the decision to slowly develop the characters makes sense. But with that weekly element, I have to say that I often end up feeling uninvested in the Titans. The actors all do a great job portraying these broken bastards, I just wish I felt that tangible emotional connection like I do in the cartoons or in the comics. Maybe the emotional emptiness the show has comes from some of the weird editing and direction that I mentioned earlier. Let's take a look at the best episode of the show so far, Episode 4, Doom Patrol. There's this really well-written scene where these douchebag hunters shoot a deer and Gar becomes a tiger to scare them off. Rachel is trying to comfort the deer as it dies when Gar says this.
Should have done more than roar. Truth is, I've never bitten anybody before. Blood grosses me out.
Now this is a very important line. That is the character writing that we need in order to care about and empathize with the Titans. So why is that moment shot in a wide 2-shot? That moment is not about Rachel. We have had plenty of character moments for her. This is Beast Boy's big episode, his big introduction, and that line tells us a lot about him and his character. Why did they use the wide angle, or why didn't they shoot a close-up? Using a close-up to show the audience that what is being said, shown, or conveyed is of importance is basic fucking visual storytelling. Close-ups help the audience grow closer with a character. There are plenty of character beats that could use a close-up, but it almost seems like the show wants me to be detached from the Titans. It's just really odd. Look at the Doom Patrol scenes in the very same episode, fan-fucking-tastic. I want to watch that show right now. I care more about characters who I've never met before this episode than I do about Robin. And that's the major problem with this entire show so far. The Doom Patrol are more developed in this one episode than the Titans are in half a season. All of a sudden, at the end of this episode, Dick Grayson starts acting like Robin. He admits that he was full of shit when he said this.
You're on your own. No one can help you. Not really.
And he uses compassion to reach Rachel. But that big character moment happens after one talk with Starfire and one incident that resembles this.
The sooner he talks, the sooner we leave.
Daddy?
I'm out of here now.
But it doesn't have the same monumental effect that the animated series scene had, because that moment and this moment don't necessarily feel earned. Now, does it not feel earned because of the emotionally detached directing, or was it the editing? Or was it the lack of character development in the story? Or is it because of the week-to-week nature instead of the binge watch? Am I just a hack fraud who got ghosted by Warner Brothers? Yes. The only Titans we really have an emotional handle on are Gar and Rachel. We know Gar is lonely and desperate for companionship, and we know that Rachel is scared because she's the literal daughter of the fucking devil, but what we don't know is why Dick Grayson wants to help him protect people. Why he cares so much. Why he is a hero. Why are any of these people heroes? And why are they stronger together than alone? That's what I need to see come together in the second half of the season, and that's what will make or break the entire show. These first episodes of Titans are a mixed bag in my eyes. No, it's not hot garbage. It's not another Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad, but it's also not a masterpiece like Daredevil. It is a mysterious, weird, crazy show with tons of odd editing choices and strange storytelling decisions, but it is also a show with tons of potential. Potential is a character study of some of the most fascinating people in the DC Comics world, and Potential is a weird, campy, and punk rocky teen show about the fucked up son of Batman, the daughter of the devil, an alien warrior that shoots energy blasts out of her hands, and a boy that can turn into any beast. Now that sounds like a pretty cool show, doesn't it? Hey guys, so I hope you enjoyed this very special episode of HiTop Films. So I mentioned this briefly in the video, but I wrote and completed a Red Hood pilot script. No, this isn't some badass, edgy Punisher Deadpool ripoff written by a 16-year-old me after a hard day at school. This is a real, hopefully legitimate character study of an abused boy who was neglected by every parental figure he had in his life. And the story is about how that neglect turned him into the Red Hood. Tonally, the show is a mix of the punk-rocky nature of Kick-Ass, the beautiful, colorful neo-noir look of Daredevil Season 1, with the heart and soul of the animated series. Mix that with the killer retro soundtrack, and there you go. I don't think anything like this has ever been attempted, but I want Jeff Johns, Greg Berlanti, or any of the DC Universe writers and producers to take a look at the script. If they hate it, that's fine, but I have to try. I like to think that my life path ends with me actually working on the characters I've talked so much about on this channel, characters I've loved and been obsessed with my whole life. So if you guys could tweet at Jeff Johns and company on my behalf, I would forever be in your debt. This means so much to me. I want to change the way these movies and television shows are made. I want to tell a character study filled with real, tangible emotion. Thank you.